UFC 299 is this Saturday, and this is arguably the biggest card of the year. So I'm going to go through each individual fight and give my breakdown and prediction for them. Starting off with Joanne Wood versus Marina Morales. Marina Morales is going to win this one, I believe, by decision. Asu Almeida is going to win this one also. Rebellis is going to absolutely starch Josh Parisian inside the first round. Michel Pereira is going to beat Michael Olasechuk by decision. I don't think Pereira is going to get the KO. I feel like he's going to gas because he's just going to feed off the energy of the crowd, and I don't think his cardio is great. I think he's going to do all that flippy shit and gas, but I think he will win by decision. Ion Cutelaba versus Felipe Lins. Now, Cutelaba is very dangerous. I think he's very dangerous, especially in the first round, but I think Felipe Lins is going to be able to make it out of the first round and win this matchup either in the second or third round. Next up, you've got, I don't know what the fuck's going on with the UFC website here, Kyler Phillips versus Pedro Munoz. I don't think Phillips is going to be able to finish Pedro, and I feel like that's going to make it a tough fight for him. I think Pedro might win this by split decision. That's going to be my prediction. Mateus Gamrot versus RDA. Now, RDA, as we know, is up there in age, nearly 40, I believe, and is coming off that loss to Vicente Luque up at welterweight. This matchup obviously taking place at lightweight. Now, Vicente Luque out-grappled RDA in that matchup, and that is not what you want to be hearing when he's fighting Mateus Gamrot. Now, RDA obviously has fought in a much better competition than Mateus Gamrot, has more experience than Gamrot. However, I just think RDA style is tailor-made to lose to a guy like Gamrot, and I feel like Gamrot, the much younger guy, is going to beat RDA by decision. I feel like it's going to be fairly boring, this matchup. Macy Barber is going to win this matchup by decision, and Curtis Blades versus Jilton Almeida. This is a matchup I'm really looking forward to. Curtis Blades, in my opinion, has all the skill set to become a heavyweight champion, but lacks this at times, his fight IQ. Jilton Almeida, as we know, is on a hot streak at the minute. He's just coming off that 25-minute domination of Derek Lewis. In this matchup, though, there's a big what if. What if Almeida can't get Blades down? Which I think he won't be able to really get Blades down and control him. And at that point then, how good is Almeida on the feet? Because we haven't really seen it, let's be honest here. But we've seen Curtis Blades, the guy carries power. His boxing isn't amazing, but it's fairly decent from what we've seen. He lands good leg kicks, but doesn't throw a lot of them, Curtis Blades. You know, he was hurting Pavlovich, knocking him off balance, etc. with those leg kicks, but he didn't throw enough of them. Hopefully he does throw them a lot in this matchup. I feel like that could be very beneficial. I feel like Blades is going to be able to stop the takedowns of Almeida, keep it on the feet where it's the unknown for Almeida. We haven't seen much of it, and I think Blades is going to TKO Almeida. I honestly feel like it's going to happen. Now, Curtis Blades could do what Curtis Blades does in big fights and turn this off and end up shooting in on Almeida and getting caught in a guillotine or something. That is also a very high possibility, but for me, I think Blades is going to be able to TKO Jilton Almeida. Next up, starting off the main card, Yan versus Song Yadong. Now, my opinion has completely flipped for this matchup. So since this matchup was rumoured, I thought Song Yadong would have been able to beat Petr Yan. I still do think he can. I feel like the fact that it's a 3-rounder is very beneficial to Song Yadong. The fact he's been more active is also very beneficial to Song Yadong, and the fact that he is much younger than Petr Yan. However, Yan just looks like he is in go mode this weekend, and I feel like Yan knows what this matchup is. If he loses to Song Yadong, I mean, he's nowhere near the title picture. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, what is next for him? I feel like Yan is going to come out there and be a lot more active earlier. And I feel like this matchup is going to be a boxing matchup with 4-ounce gloves in an octagon. And I feel like Petr Yan is going to do a better job. He's the much better boxer than Song Yadong. And I feel like Yan is going to outbox Song Yadong for all 3 rounds and win this by decision. Next up, Gilbert Burns, JDM. How the fuck is Gilbert Burns the underdog in this matchup? Gilbert Burns is a former title challenger, got a stacked resume. It's currently ranked number 4. JDM is ranked number 11. Not that that really matters, to be honest, but Gilbert Burns knows the game plan to beat JDM because Gilbert Burns' teammate arguably beat JDM on short notice, and that was Chavez. Now, JDM is an amazing striker, but his grappling does have holes in it. Gilbert Burns is an amazing grappler and is a decent striker, but if Gilbert Burns chooses to, similar to like what Curtis Blaydes does, they kind of do the same thing. They turn this off and then they end up losing. Gilbert Burns needs to grapple with JDM in this matchup. He cannot let this be a striking matchup. If he does, he's going to lose to JDM and quite possibly get stopped. But I feel like Gilbert Burns knows what this matchup is. He has to win. If he loses to the ranked number 11 in JDM, his welterweight career is essentially done. He's never going to be near the title again, especially with being 37 or 38 years of age. I feel like Gilbert Burns will come out here and just out-grapple JDM, look for position over submission, and win a pretty boring decision, to be honest. Next up, we've got Kevin Holland versus MVP. MVP making his UFC debut. Now, I have not chopped and changed, sorry. I have stuck with Kevin Holland since this matchup was announced, since MVP was announced to be coming to the UFC. But my opinion has changed. I always said MVP. I think he's left it too late to come to the UFC. I don't think his style will match up well against the elite guys at welterweight. But I feel like Kevin Holland is just going to try and have a kickboxing match with MVP and he's not going to win. I think this is going to be a fairly boring enough matchup, though, to be honest. I feel like both guys are going to be talking shit to each other in there. I feel like MVP is going to drop Kevin Holland a couple of times, knock him off balance a couple of times with his movement. And I feel like MVP is going to win a fairly boring decision here and then move on to July, where he's going to get the matchup that everybody wants to see. Him and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. MVP is going to win this by decision. Next up, Dustin Poirier, Benoit Saint Denis. Similar to Gilbert Burns, how the fuck is Dustin Poirier the underdog? Dustin Poirier, a top 5 lightweight of all time, former interim lightweight champion, currently ranked number 3. Benoit Saint Denis ranked number 12. But like I said, that shit doesn't really matter at times. Benoit Saint Denis has had 6 fights in the UFC, I believe, winning 5 of those, losing 1, obviously. Dustin Poirier is going to beat him. Dustin Poirier is going to TKO Benoit Saint Denis. Now, do I think this is going to be an easy matchup? No. And another thing to add in, people think BSD has staff, which makes me even more confident in this pick. Dustin Poirier is going to lose the first 3 rounds, in my opinion. Benoit Saint Denis is going to do a great job of just forward pressuring Dustin Poirier, landing big shots. I think he is going to be able to land a few takedowns on Poirier and beat him up while Poirier's on his back. However, Benoit Saint Denis is at one stage in this matchup going to back Poirier up against the cage like he tends to do. He's going to then completely forget about his striking defense, drop his hands by his hips and start wheeling in shots. And similar to what happened to Michael Chandler, Poirier is a slick boxer. He's a better boxer than Benoit Saint Denis is, carries a lot of power, and I feel like Dustin Poirier is going to crack Benoit Saint Denis late in the 3rd, early in the 4th, wobble Benoit Saint Denis, be able to land the follow-up shots to get himself a TKO victory. Dustin Poirier is going to TKO Benoit Saint Denis in this matchup. Finally, the main event, Sean O'Malley, Chito Vera 2. Chito Vera arguably doesn't even deserve this title matchup, to be honest. O'Malley has picked him because he's the favourable matchup. Now, if O'Malley loses here to Chito Vera, I don't know what he does next, to be honest. I feel like there's going to be a kind of like an Adesanya-esque performance by O'Malley. He's going to stay on the outside, picking his shots. Chito Vera is not that active. He normally looks to land that big shot in there and takes a while to get going, and I feel like this matchup is going to be no different. I feel like O'Malley is just going to rack up the early rounds, and by the time Chito Vera kicks into gear, it's too late and O'Malley is already up the rounds. O'Malley is going to win this by unanimous decision. So yeah, those are my UFC 299 picks and predictions. Comment your opinion below. Who do you think is going to win these matchups? I am going to be doing a watch along on TikTok tomorrow night, so be sure to follow me on TikTok. And as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I will see you again in the next one.